What up, though, people? And we are live. The Detroit Pistons they just took down the Trailblazers 110 to 102. And this one, I call this one a little bit of a character win. You talk about the start of a long road trip. They have no more games at home before the new year. And they got a bunch they got to cram in here before they come back home in January. And they play a lot of home games. So I think this is one of the most pivotal stretches for the Detroit Pistons of the season. And it's how they get through this West Coast trip. And they started off with a win. One in which they kind of controlled from start to finish against an upstart team. They were missing Jeremy Grant. I thought this one was good, though. Cade Cunningham, he played good overall, but he wound up fouling out. I don't know how the fouls just piled on there at the end for Cade Cunningham, but, overall, this was one of those games in which I'm like, you know what? This Detroit Pistons team showed a lot of character, a lot of heart. They had to go deep into the bench because they had foul trouble early on with Asar Thompson. 2 fouls quickly in the first quarter, and then got that third one early. And so for this squad to prove, we're beyond now the first third of the season. For this team now to prove that they are this deep, they are this for real, that, number 1 team in the NBA in stocks, number 2 team in the NBA in defensive, efficiency rating, and stocks is steals plus blocks, if you did not know. So this team, and not just that, when they've had to go to the bench as well, that's the aspect of it that I've loved. You don't necessarily see a crazy aspect of, I don't think our team is going to be able to get it done. This team has been able to rely on the depth, rely on the bench all season long. All season long. So, look, we're going to get Chris Platty in here in a little bit. We're going to get into this box score as well so we can break down this game tonight. But overall, you know what? Great start to the West Coast road trip for the Detroit Pistons. And shout out to JB Bickerstaff as well, who was named today the president of the NBA Coaches Association. Rick Carlisle stepped down. JB Bickerstaff was voted in. So our guy, shout out JB Bickerstaff. It looks like he holds a little bit of weight around here. So we're going to try and get Platty in here as well while I'm bringing up this box score so we can have a post-game show, man. We have a post-game show. We decided, look, we're going to still do this. And we know that the West Coast is going to be a lot of late games. We're going to try and do the watch parties when we can. But at the very least, we're like, you know what? Let's jump on here and do this anyway. So shout out to anybody that wants to stay up this late to watch Pistons. I remember during the down years, there was a lot of times, man, when people were up and they were still like, you know what? I'm still going to support this team. Even during the West Coast road trips, even late at night. And so, you know what? Now that they're winning, though, it feels that much better, man. That much better. We're going to get into it here in a little bit, man. I'm seeing some of the chats here. I'm waiting for them to show up in on my side here, too, so I can put the chats on the screen for you people. Let me see. Comments. Yeah, so they should be on there soon. But I see on YouTube, I see a lot of you guys here, man. Got a little nervous when Cade fouled out. That's Artman Driver. Another crap show for the refs. Blazers shot 20 more free throws than we did. You know what, Aaron S? We're going to start there, especially because the Pistons won. They give us the opportunity to say, you know what, they overcame, though. The refs were absolutely a crap show. But this squad has been showing me something. Like, if I felt like, okay, the refs are holding them back from winning, I would be on the front lines. Like I was in the playoffs last year. But this year, I feel like there's some games against some teams that this Detroit Pistons team should be able to, and have shown to flex their muscles against. And tonight was one of those nights. This Blazers team is sneaky good. They were coming in winners of 3 straight. Thiago Splitter has been playing good. With Jeremy Grant out, that increased the usage for players like Shannon Sharp, Danny Avia. They got Robert Williams, who's playing well. Now he's back from injury. They got some guys that really get after it on defense, want to hustle. And we've seen it. Every time we've played the Portland Trail Blazers, they've had some guys that can go out there and get some buckets and put some points and make each one of these games, for large part, scrappy, even if the Pistons can pull away. So today, they got out to about a 20-point lead for most of this game, for large parts of it. But in that fourth quarter, especially after Cade Cunningham got fouled out, things got a little bit dicey. But I'm going to go back and read some more of these chats that I got here in the comment before we get to the box score and talk about the players that made the difference tonight. And we got to shout out guys like Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren is a guy who, by this time in the season now, when you see him doing the things that he's doing, And Jalen Duren on the night had 26 points, bro. 26 points. Just missed out on his double-double because he had 9 rebounds. 11 to 15 from the floor. This guy continues to go out there, and it's not just being force-fed baskets, but he continues to go out there and shoot efficiently. He continues to go out there and get the rebound on the offensive side and make do. He's going out there now and being able to put his back to the basket. He's going out there and being able to seal off his man and gain position underneath the rim and in the paint. And he's able to score off of that. The reason why that's important is because prior, people thought that he was just maybe a lob merchant. You know, hey, pick and roll lob merchant. What you're seeing now is even if Cade Cunningham is not in the game, Jalen Duren is still going out there and having a huge impact on this game from a scoring position standpoint. And it is because of the advancements that he's made as it relates to footwork, handling the ball a little bit, confidence too. Just realizing that he's bigger than everybody else that's out there on the court and then getting to his spots quickly rather than waiting. And that's something that I've seen him practice over and over and over again for the last 2, 3, 4 years. 2-3 years I've been able to see him in practice. So Jalen Duren was one of those guys that I thought was kind of all over the court. And he did this in 24 minutes, mind you. 24 minutes. It's not like he wasted any time out there. So shout out to JD for getting after it tonight. He also had, like I told you, 5 offensive rebounds. He and Asar Thompson, who brought just so much energy to this game tonight. And in the categories of do the little things, the 5 offensive rebounds was huge. You're talking about getting your team 5 extra opportunities to score. And if it's guys like Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren getting it, then they're guys that a lot of times are going to be able to go up there and either draw a foul or either go and put the ball right back up. And so we got the end of the game here as well. I'm gonna try and see if we can catch any of the post game as well. I got the message from Platty. He says he's gonna get set up here in a second and get in here too. So hey, let me know what you guys thought about Jalen Duren tonight. Let me know what you thought about Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, who your player of the game is, who your X factor was too. Let's get some of this in the chat. As well. But tonight was one of those ones where I was proud of this team, man. I thought they came through. I'm going to read some more of the comments here in the chat. I wish they would come up here on my system so that I could put you guys up on the screen, but for some reason, it's just not going the way that it usually goes. So, but shout out to you guys, man. Aaron that says he's happy for the win, but he is getting a little frustrated with JB's leash on Ivy. He was playing better than LeVert and Duncan and still can't sniff fourth quarter minutes. And I want to take a look at the minutes here, and I feel like what I'm going to see is like 14 or 15 minutes. And that's going to tell the story. He actually got 18 minutes tonight, 11 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from behind the arc. And I thought that Jaden Ivey is starting to look very, very comfortable. He also had 2 steals tonight, too, which is something that a lot of these players are becoming very, very adept at. Like I said, the Pistons are the number 1 team in stocks in NBA that steals plus blocks. And it's because all these guys press up into the jerseys of the person that they're defending. All these guys are hustling. All these guys are taking chances. They probably get, too many reach-in fouls that they actually deserve, but it's also leading to them being in better positions to play defense, get the steal, and turn that into transition offense, which, oh, by the way, they're one of the best teams at creating turnovers and turning turnovers into points as well, which is something that we track, and we'll get to that during the team fouls. But you know what? Oh, sweet. Finally, the comments are up here. So let me try and find that comment because I agree, man. I want to see Ivy get a little bit more. I don't know if he's still on the minutes restrictions or not right now. But what we're seeing from him is somebody who's going out there and more times than not, he's looking more consistent from behind the arc, similar to the Jaden Ivey that we saw during the first 17 games of last season. And we're also seeing a guy who's going out there and he's not looking lost on the offensive end. He's not going out there and just demanding his. He's just fitting in seamlessly. I believe that if you wanted to turn up his usage rate, you would see a Jaden Ivey that could go out there and look even more like he did last year. But I don't know, 18 minutes, 11 points. I would reckon if he got some of the minutes that he was getting last year, he would be scoring his 15, 14, 16, 17 points per game. I kind of want to see more Jaden Ivey, but I also want to see how, I don't know. I'm going to level with you guys. You guys put in the chat what you think should happen. I don't know if he's still on minutes restrictions because that's where I was going to go. I don't know, so I don't want to speak out of place in terms of JB Bickerstaff, but I like what I'm seeing out of Jaden Ivey. I really do. And I see there's a lot of people out here who really are believing the same thing too, man. Let me get some of these up on the screen. I see you out there, man. Mash in the chat says Jaden Ivey should have been on the court late instead of Duncan Robinson. I saw some other names as well that people thought Jaden Ivey should be taking their minutes. Levert, 0 of 8, Ivy 5 of 8. Levert closes. Please explain. Look, guys, I don't have it for you. Like I said, I'm hoping that there's some aspect of he's still on minutes restrictions and then some familiarity. You know, JB Bickerstaff, I know as a coach, is one that if he gives these roles and these guys have been a thing for most of the season, that's what he's going to give a chance to work until it fails. And so as it relates to Jaden Ivey, me personally, if he's not on minutes restrictions, I've liked what I've seen. I'm not going to take away, you know, why he was drafted, what he's supposed to be here. You know, if I believe that he would mess up the chemistry on this team and mess up what this team could be and start to tank it a little bit, that's a completely different story. But this is a guy who did more than show promise last year and got injured, unfortunately, due to some bull crap, man. Let me get Platty. Let me get Mr. Platty. Yeah, he should be in here soon. Platty, you with me, brother?
There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing?
There we go. I'm doing good, man. You know what? I didn't expect this off the rip, but people want Jaden Ivey. I mean, I want Jaden Ivey too, but I don't know if there's minutes restrictions. I don't know if there's anything that we got to be concerned about as it relates to Jaden Ivey. Mm-hmm. But overall, I thought that this Detroit Pistons team played really, really good. I thought Jaden Ivey is proving that he's starting to get back into that same type of shape that we saw him in last year to start the season. Yes, efficient player, can shoot the ball, can facilitate, can dish. You know what? And overall, he contributed to this team winning tonight. You know, shot over 500 again, shot, 1 or 2 from behind the arc. And so I was just rapping with the people because they believe that he should be getting the minutes. Obviously, your favorite player, Karis LeVert, went 0 of 8 tonight. He was in the closing lineup, whereas Jaden Ivey didn't get that opportunity. And so there's a lot of people who are wondering, hey, what's going on? And it's cool because you know what? You got a Pistons team that just moved to 23-6 on the season, and all we've been able to do after wins sometimes and even after losses is try to critique this team to the level of, hey, this is the number 1 team in the East, number 2 team defensively in the league, number 1 team in the East defensively, number 1 team in the entire NBA in stock, steals plus blocks. I was sharing with the people, number 1 team in, like, I believe, turnovers and then transition points off turnovers, which we've tracked all year, and we'll get to that. This is a for real team, man. And so, you know, sometimes I wonder, you know, if we're going to be, you know, if JB Bickerstaff and the things he's doing, is it to try and garner some type of consistency? And then us as fans, I do believe that we should be able to look at this team and hold them to the expectations, bro, of a number 1 overall seed. I know what the history says. I know that we just joined this party. I get that. We just made the playoffs last year, but they skipped some steps last year. Yeah. They skipped over the play-in. They skipped right into the playoffs. They skipped right over getting swept again like they did the previous 2 times, and they could have and they probably should have pushed this thing to 7 games last year. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to crush the fans at all if they want to continue to have, this hyper focus on what this team should and shouldn't be, especially with the fact that we've supported this team for a decade and a half through putrid basketball. Putrid. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to take that away from the fans, but the players that I've talked about tonight so far, Platty, is Jalen Duren, 26 and 10. I thought that he was huge, especially in the minutes without Cade Cunningham. Mm-hmm. I thought that his minutes and Asar Thompson's especially were really good, but Jaden Ivey was a player that just, I saw his name throughout the chat. I was like, you know what? We're going to go right to the bench. We're going to talk about Jaden Ivey's, but just your initial thoughts on this game, bro, your reaction to the win. I thought it's a good win to kick off the road trip. They have a rack of road games before they come back home, and then they got a whole lot of home games in the month of January, but they got to handle business here. I think this is the most pivotal stretch of the season for the Detroit Pistons, Platty.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because to me, one of the things I came in here ready to say was that this Piston team did what they're supposed to do and put a bad team away, or put a team in another class away. But they ultimately didn't. But it was for 3.5 quarters there. I mean, it pretty much felt like, or 3 quarters there, it felt like this was the Pistons game all along. Like, Portland would make runs, but Pistons always kind of kept it within that 8 to 12 range, and then would balloon it back up to as much as 20 plus. And so you felt good about this game. all game, and then of course Portland coming back, making it close at the end, kind of erases that takeaway I had. But that was what I felt like for most of the game. I thought that you mentioned that the closing lineup wasn't wasn't the best, but Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey, like those guys that are the non-Cade players having good games makes you feel really good about this team. I thought Asar was assertive on the offensive end and attacking and aggressively finishing. I said this before, and you've agreed with me that Asar has the athleticism and the tools to where no F that finger roll, dunk that, punch it on somebody,
Dunk that.
and so he had that one in the first quarter, or I believe it was a early second quarter, and then he had another that he could have, but then he chose to lay up. So I think he is starting to kind of work through that, much like we've seen Jalen Duren make that leap this year, where it's like, no, forget this. I am just a physical force, and nobody can stop me. You've yet to see Asar get that mentality, and he should have that mentality for his position with the size and the athleticism that he has. Jaden Ivey having a good game again offensively just makes you feel really good about this team, because this is a night where, look, Cade only got 14 points. Like, Cade was effectively just micromanaging the game and allowing to play through the others and let them have their game, because tomorrow is a back-to-back. And so tomorrow, maybe it will be Cade Cunningham leads the team attacking, scoring, and he looks to get 28 plus, 30 plus, and really be like, okay, well, now I have to turn on the Jets, because last game you guys stepped up. You guys gave me what I needed to get the job done. And now tonight it's my turn. So I think you love to see that from Ivy, Asar, Jalen Duren. And I'm with the chat too. I want to see Ivy kind of continue to elevate his role. I thought Dennis was nice. I know we're going to go deep down the bench here and get to that, but I thought
Yeah.
I thought that what Ivy did tonight absolutely earned him more minutes, more reps, and you know, I get that there's a plan in place. There's some type of something in place with Ivy and how he's being brought along, but games like this make you say, "F that. Let's go. Let's see." But ultimately the Pistons are winning. The Pistons are winning. Ivy is growing, maybe not as fast as you would like to see, but he is growing. And so as long as he continues to show growth, maybe not every game because the NBA season is so up and down, but over the course of weeks, if you just look at it in weeks, was Ivy better this week than he was last week? And if you just look at it in that aspect, and if Ivy keeps progressing that way,
Yeah.
then yeah, I don't care how slowly they bring him along. But I'm with the chat too at the same time. Like, I'd love to see Ivy, and I think he's earned more, and I think he's capable of more than what this Piston team is kind of slow rolling him into.
Yep. And I'm over here listening to the press conference right now. Shout out to Amari Sankofa of the Free Press, who just asked Jimmy Bickerstaff about Jaden Ivey, and he said, it's the 1 month anniversary of Jaden Ivey's return.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what, he's progressing well. And the way that he's talking, it sounds like they might still have Jaden Ivey on some type of restrictions.
Yeah.
It just sounds like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see when they get back home in January, where they have a whole lot. Hey, Platt, if you haven't seen it, bro, we're like broadcasting live from the arena or live from the studio almost every single game in January. So y'all stay tapped in and support us, man. It's gonna be dope. But I wonder when they get back home if that's gonna allow them to give him the treatment, the care. He's gonna be at their facilities, in their gym, not a lot of travel. We can get rest and things of that nature. I'm wondering if during that time they're able to ease open the minutes for Jaden Ivey a little bit, or if JB Bickerstaff is one of those guys who's like, look, we have a plan. We're going to stick to our plan. We trust our guys, because the questions before that centered around two things. One, the extra possessions that they got. They got over 20. They got 23 extra possessions tonight off of turnovers and offensive rebounds tonight, which is insane. 23 more possessions than the Portland Trailblazers just off of that, which is crazy. But he also talked about the depth and the fact that they're glad that they can actually rely on that. You talked about it just a little bit there too. I don't care if Dennis Jenkins' numbers blow anyone out the water. We already know that if Dennis Jenkins gets the usage, he can go out there and put up some points. We
Right.
know that. And a lot of times for those guys, if they're getting inconsistent minutes or even short minutes, like tonight, he got 14 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 7 from the field, 3 assists. And to a lot of people, that's not going to be anything that just blows your mind. But when Cade Cunningham is sitting and you have Dennis Jenkins in the game and you're winning that game, that's a plus. I thought that some of the minutes that he showed earlier in the season, when the stats weren't blowing people off the water, Platty, and we were still coming on here saying, you know what? Dennis Jenkins is still doing. He's an NBA player. He's playing good. He's playing his role. These are going to be minutes that we can depend on later in the season. If Cade has to sit, blah 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 blah. And then right after that, he went on that Dennis Jenkins Linsanity run. So I thought that his minutes tonight were very very crucial because you don't really get blown away during those minutes or dominated. There's been games we saw before in the past. If Cade sits, it's a loss. That's just what it is. If Cade's fouled out, pack it up and go home, fellas. Like that's what we've seen in the past. So I was actually really, really happy about Dennis Jenkins. And I want to go over and look at these team stats before we go back through the rest of this box score and talk about these players tonight. And I want to talk about the coach as well. Yep, I see Vash in the chat, Vashan in the chat. He said that coach is addressing Ivy right now. Hey, and you guys, if you heard anything from the press conference tonight, that you like, put in the chat. We'll definitely discuss it. I got the headphones on because I got the game and the press conference on over here, and rapping with my guy over here. We got the 2K behind me over there. We got everything going on, man. And I see the rap cave going on over there, man. So I got the music over here, my microphone and everything. We're gonna have to do something one day, Platty. But
absolutely,
right now we got this Pistons stuff going on, and a 110-102 win for the Detroit Pistons over the Portland Trailblazers. They kick off a pretty long road trip. And in the past, road trips, West Coast road trips for the Pistons used to spell the end of their season early. Yeah. They always get tripped up by these things. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting. Oh, snap, Vashan, I see you, my guy. We're going to have to get you back out to another we have to get you out to a game. We're going to have to do some content soon. My guy be at front row at some of these games. He was front row at the Pistons Hawks game down in Atlanta. And he was also front row at the Pistons game. I don't know what we were doing, why I wasn't there. I think it was like Thanksgiving weekend or whatever. But a shout out to him, man. He supports the content and everything. And I just wanted to make sure that I gave him a special shout out, as well as some of the other people I see here. A lot of the regulars in the chat. So if you get the opportunity, go ahead and smash that like button. But yeah, I see you. He said Vashan is the gov. No, I see you, my bro. I see you, brother. Continue to support, man. Like, it goes a long way. Like, seriously. But and I see I'm gonna put this up here too before we jump into these stats, bro. Timothy says, please, no more Lions talk. We got the Pistons and Red Wings playing great. All right, look.
Timothy, plenty to talk about there.
Can we meet in the middle? Can we at least have mock draft season? We don't gotta talk about how the team doing right now, but I at least want to make sure that these Lions are gonna go into the draft and do something to put the team in a better situation. But
can we get mathematically eliminated first? I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying we will overcome all of this. I'm definitely not saying that. We are, by all functioning realistic measurements, not making the playoffs for the Detroit Lions. But I will say, give it another week. Let's have that door officially shut, and then we could do all the mock drafts you want. I mean, I know you sickos want to talk Lions football and want to fix this thing as much as we do. But until then, man, like he said, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about in Detroit with the Pistons and the Red Wings.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just briefly before we get into these the team stats, which has become one of our rituals. We've seen that this is the identity of this team. And, it was awesome listening to the fan dual Detroit sports broadcast before the game talking about this stuff. So it's awesome to see that these trends, things that we saw early on, other people are starting to pick up. And you heard JB Bickerstaff talking about it as well. But Asar Thompson said something very interesting. What did we say after that last game with the referee debacle? We said this team is going to have to learn to understand this is how they're going to ref y'all. You're going to have to play through it. Keep your mouth shut so you don't cost yourselves anymore. Let JB Bickerstaff be the one to catch your fines. Let JB Bickerstaff be the one to go out there and argue for you, because sideline JB Bickerstaff, he has a whole lot more leeway for whatever reason than the rest of the players. Like, it just is what it is. And Jeff Teague was actually talking about that on the 520 podcast. Shout out to them for coming through. But he did state during this halftime interview that he just wants to stop talking to the refs altogether. Just play defense, lock up, focus on not getting fouls and such. And he just talked about in this press conference that was his focus. So he was surprised that he went out there and picked up 2 early fouls. But after that, he locked it down and he wound up staying in the game, I think, with only 3 fouls the rest of the way. So shout out to Asar Thompson. And we'll break down his game a little bit more, too, because Chris, I think you hit it the nail on the head with him. It's aggression. It's aggression. Yeah. I don't need aggressive layups, though. It's aggression with power. It's that aggression with you ain't stopping me. It's that aggression with, you know what? If I'm going to the line and I have a chance to probably miss 1 or 2 of these free throws, I'm at least going to make sure I try and boom on you. Like, there's nothing that you get other than pushing your team closer to the bonus. There's nothing that you get when you're driving to the rack and you're Asar Thompson and you have the athleticism of, I don't know, like 10,000 Killian Hayes, bro. It's like it's like dunk.
How many Jonas Jerebkos? How many Jonas Jerebkos
would do with your athleticism?
Yeah,
and with your physicality, with your dexterity. Right. It's like the Asar Thompson that we're starting to see over the last couple games, and that we've seen flashes of. This is what I'm hearing JB Bickerstaff say. This is the Asar Thompson that we want. And Asar talked about the fact that his teammates have continued to support him as well in this endeavor. So,
yes,
I like to hear this stuff from him. You can tell that this team, they're trying to take the referees out of it as much as they can. And that's what you want to hear from your squad. Fans, y'all keep the pressure on them. Y'all keep, if the refs are on some bull, call it out. Straight up. And Platty, you know, we're going to adjust the team first. Then we're going to call out the referees too. But what you want your players to do is focus on going out there and doing exactly the things they do. Make sure your identity is intact every single night. But tonight was one of those nights. 3-point shooting. 23% from beyond the arc. You think that stopped the Pistons? Not one freaking bit, bro. 101 field goal attempts for the Pistons to 74 field goal attempts for the Blazers. Now, the Blazers did get their get back at the free throw line. They took 43 free throw attempts. Something's got to change. I get it that the Pistons play a physical brand of basketball. 43 free throw attempts for the Blazers. The Pistons only got 24. They made 15 of them. So they shot 63% from the line. The Blazers 67, which is something that you got to get right. I am telling you, when we talk about this team as it relates to the playoffs, this will absolutely hurt you. Absolutely. We saw this hurt them last year in the playoffs in those collapses. They fouled them, sent them to the line. They missed some free throws. Go back if you want to gut punch yourself like I did this week. Look at those playoff games against the Knicks. Look at those last 5 minutes. You will see some missed free throws and some careless turnovers. The turnovers have cut down with this team this year, but those free throws is something that I'm going to continue to harp on. I don't care if they go into the playoffs as the number 1 seed and 65 wins. If they are not hitting free throws, I'm going to harp on it. Like, it's just, you know how the playoffs are, Platty.
The Blazers, though, are sneaky in free throws, too. With Denny Advia, I believe they saw in the FanDuel broadcast that he is 3rd in foul attempts, drawn fouls in the NBA. And then you also have Shaedon Sharpe. So they have some players that can kind of get in there and draw some fouls. You're right. It still shouldn't be that, but this team is a team that does kind of get to the line. And so I think that that's why that discrepancy, that gap is a little bigger than it normally is. But you're absolutely right. Still, at the end of the day, the Pistons do got to find a way to these teams that are good at getting fouls to not fall into that trap, because it does create such a hole. Because I mean, the sheer amount of field goal attempts, you're like, oh my God, the Pistons won this game by 40 points. Like, that's what you would think, especially because
it felt like that, didn't it?
It felt
like it was supposed to be that until the end.
The turnovers were this wasn't their best game taking care of the ball by any means, but it was a game that was like, you didn't feel like the turnovers were that high. You felt like it almost felt like every time the Pistons turned the ball over, Portland just gave it right back to them. And so you felt like you weren't turning the ball over a lot. You were dominating the glass. Yeah, that free throw is the last part of it. That free throw is everything because this Piston team, like you said, shot 23% from three tonight, but that is kind of more in line with what they are going to be. They are going to be on a lot of nights a sub 30% free throw shooting or 3-point shooting team. And so you need to continue to dominate the glass, take care of the ball. And then the last step is close that gap at the free
Yeah.
throw line.
I like what you said there. This is what they are as it relates to the 3-point shooting. Can Trajan go out there and add more? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want Trajan to go out there and add more? Yes. Do we want players on the team to get better? Yes. But if they don't, this is who you are. And that's why I'm so glad that their identity is touch the paint first. You know what I saw tonight? I was wondering how they were going to attack Robert Williams, Donovan Clingan, and some of the bigs that they can roll because they got lengthy 4s and 3s as well that they would roll into the paint. The Pistons were running some sets and some wrinkles, man, that I love that made Donovan Clingan or the center or whoever was protecting the rim have to step up. And you got actions where other players are throwing lobs to Duncan Robinson or backdoor cut passes to Asar Thompson. I mean, not Duncan Robinson, but Duncan Robinson throwing lobs to Jalen Duren rather than just being Cade Cunningham. So they did some things to switch it up and make it interesting for themselves. And they had that formula working for most of the game. And when you listen to these team stats, it sounds like the Pistons should have won by 40 points. But obviously, when you lose to Cade Cunningham, that's going to take a little bit of the win from underneath yourselves. But 28 assists for the Detroit Pistons to 21. They only had 10 turnovers in this game, which is beneath, I believe, their season average. And they only conceded 10 points off those turnovers. They got 19 turnovers. They forced 19 turnovers from the Trailblazers, and they got 26 points off those turnovers. This is something you want to continue to see the Pistons do. Go out there and get the 20 to 25 points a game off of forced turnovers from the other team. This is part of their identity. If they're not doing this, it's probably going to be hard pressed if the Pistons are winning the game. Rebounds, 48 to 38. So, again, that's their identity. The Pistons right now are a plus 5.7 average rebound differential over their opponents per game. That is the highest. That is the highest for the Detroit Pistons, I believe, in franchise history currently. So if that upholds, that will be another record. All the things that JB Bickerstaff has been talking about, this Detroit Pistons team is making the foundation and the ingredients for wins. As we go through the rest of this thing, the steals, they got 11 steals and 7 blocks to add to that Stocks lead that they have at 18. And the fast break points. This I absolutely love. These next two here. Fast break points. 34 fast break points to only 8 for the Trailblazers, bro. And then points in the paint, 66 points in the paint to 40 points in the paint for the Blazers. When you're talking about and the Pistons they led for 97% of the game, by the way, which is amazing. A lot of these games, I'm realizing when I'm looking at it, they're leading for over 70% of the game.
Yes.
That's the Detroit Pistons. And why? Because of the team stats. That's why I love kind of going to those team stats. You know, we'll shout out kind of the highlighted players in the beginning, but when you go to the team stats, it really tells a story of how this Pistons team was playing the game. And even why when the game got close, it really wasn't as close as it seemed. If this team is hitting free throws, if this team is taking care of the ball, this game is probably one that they win by double digits. But tonight they win by 8.
Yeah, that's exactly why I started this by saying I was ready to come in here and talk about how the Pistons, this is the good win that I like to see because, you know, don't get me wrong. I love to see this team winning in the clutch time and time again, getting that experience in the regular season, building that confidence in this team that their backbone, their identity can have success when things get tough. I love that. But also, we can't have 82 close games, man. We can't do it. Like, you need to also put those teams away that are in a lower class. And tonight, it honestly looked and felt like they did that for the majority of the game. And I know that down the stretch there, it did become close. So ultimately, I'm not able to say that the same level of confidence, the same level of authority that I would like to. But I do want to see the Pistons do that throughout this road trip. I mean, you're playing a team like the Kings who have picked up some wins recently, but again, that's a team that you should be able to tomorrow put away. It is a back-to-back, so you can't discredit that. but this is a team you should be able to put away tomorrow because they are in a lower class of basketball than you right
What, man,
now.
you just gonna disrespect Dennis Schroeder like that?
I am going to disrespect Dennis
Kings
Schroeder's
legend.
team. I am going to disrespect Dennis Schroeder's team like that. Look, they got a lot of guards, a lot of mouths to feed. They're in the market for point guards, yet they have like 4 point guards. I heard the report today that they want Darius Garland. It's like, dude, you
All
had
they do
Fox
is
and
recycle guards, bro.
Albert.
The Kings
Yeah,
have just recycled guards for like the last. I mean, you go back to Jay Will and Mike Bibby, bro. This
yeah,
is what
that's
they
what they
do.
do. This is exactly what they do. And then again, how about a couple years ago, you have Fox and Halbert. You got rid of both of them, and
That's what
then you
I'm saying, bro.
recycle
This is
like
what they do. High end guards. It ain't
yeah,
even like they
like
just like pedaling back in, and then they got the nerve to go and sign
ridiculous.
Dennis Schroeder of all guards to
Yeah,
starter money, bro.
look, man, King's good king.
Shout
But
out to the
again,
Kings.
I do want to see this team put it away. Now, if we come on the stream tomorrow night and it's not a close game and the Pistons pulled it out, I'm not going to be mad at this team, but there does have to be those games in the season, Kool-Aid, where you just stomp them out tonight. This is us. And as much as you lead for 97% of the game, and that's a great stat that you brought up tonight. I want this team to go out there and make their mark on a team and make their mark on the league and put away these bad teams. I really want to see them. I really want to see them be able to do that. And they haven't quite done that. They've let a lot of teams that are not in their class hang. And I think that's the next step that they have to take is just stomping out. Is just curb stomping these teams.
I think they got to just learn to play understanding that you're getting all these teams' best punches now. Like they probably go into the games against the big dogs and the national TV games already with that mindset hyped up. But when they're going in to play Portland at the beginning of a 5-game road trip, and man, just get through these games, we get home. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I wonder where that mentality and that mindset might be for them. But Portland's coming in like F these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to take the Pistons' heads off because the Pistons is the number 1 team in the league right now. The Pistons took the leap that a lot of people thought Portland Trailblazers could take. You talk about a team with a bunch of young players on it and had a decent little mix of vets. They were supposed to take a little bit of a leap. So, you know what I mean? Like if I'm their young players, I'm especially a guy like Danny Avdia who's been out, passed around a little bit. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm coming out and Shaden Sharp. I'm coming out. I'm trying to end this team. That's at least the way that I've seen Shaden Sharp and Jeremy Grant play against the Detroit Pistons every single time. So, it's tough. And then when it's those West Coast road trips, I want to see the Pistons go out there and smack people. But I am going to bring a little bit of levity to it. I've seen them struggle on these things for years. So if they're going out there and they're controlling the game, like if Cade was in and they fumbled this game down like that, it'd probably be a little bit different, heat from me or a little bit different ire. But I thought without Cade Cunningham, I thought that they handled themselves well. The composure spots, the places where they dropped this in the past, I thought that they were actually pretty good, man, down the stretch. They hit their free throws. I think they might have missed one, but Jalen Duren was reliable. This team, they found a way to pull it through without Cade Cunningham. And, when you look ahead to, tomorrow's game and just to call out the rest of the games, this was game 1 of the West Coast road trip against the Trailblazers. They started off with a dub. Then they go to the Kings, the Jazz, the Clippers, and then the Lakers, man, before they come back home on January 1 and they face the Miami Heat. So they got a lot of games packed in, man, and a lot of travel. So I'm at this point, I saw people in the chat talking about, out of these 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if the Pistons come away with like 3 wins, 4 wins, I'm looking at it. You got the Kings and the Jazz. Those should just be 2 dubs.
Yes.
The Clippers, it should be a dub. You got some teams that are 7 wins, 10 wins, 7 wins. And I get it. Tomorrow's the second night of a back-to-back. It almost felt like Cade Cunningham was like, man, we just get some rest for tonight, dog. We got another game tomorrow night anyway. So honestly, you got the Lakers sitting at 19-8. That's going to be on national TV, NBC Peacock, man. So we're definitely going to they're gonna have their work cut out for them in that game. But in a perfect world, in a real world, I'm sitting here like I don't know why they shouldn't go out and win all of these. But we know that teams drop games. But
Yeah.
why not now to pick that time to start up a new winning streak for the Detroit Pistons? Because these next 3 games against teams that have 10 wins or less, these are games that should be, I'm not going to say blowouts, but let me say handle your business games. These are
Yes.
those ones where it's just like, bro, come on. The Kings, they're not on your level at all. With the Trailblazers, they come in winners of 3 in a row. We understand they've been through some ups and downs, coaching philosophies, now players getting opportunities. Robert Williams back from injury. Donovan Clingan is starting to really catch on and averaging 10 rebounds a game. Those things are different.
Yeah.
Than the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz, which are probably 2 of your biggest pictures of dysfunction right now in the NBA. I'm just, just being for real about it. I'm just
no
being
kidding.
for real about it.
Look, man. I think, I think, and I see a lot of the chat saying that a win is a win, and yeah, it is a win. So ultimately, I'm not forcing the issue. I'm taking.
No, you thinking with the perspective of this is the number 1 seed in the East.
Yes,
playoffs. How far are you going? Like what it matters to them. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's not all shucks, happy to be here. Like, no, it can't be. It can't be because the East is wide open. The East is for the taking. So, like, you can't just have the wide eye, happy to be here. Look, no, you have to be able to. There is value in winning those close games. Like I said, it does build confidence. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you should be putting away these bad teams. And tonight, they were doing that for about 3.5 quarters or 3.25 quarters. And then Portland kind of got back into this game. So, that's kind of where it stops. And hopefully tomorrow they can correct that. It is a back-to-back against Sacramento, but again, that's a winnable game. You talked about the Jazz, the Clippers. The Pistons have a chance to really stack up some wins on these weaker Western Conference teams, because this is a West Coast road trip, but this is, when you look at win percentages, probably one of the more favorable stretches. One of the more favorable stretches. And then what after that, Kool-Aid? You talked about it. You're home for most of the month of January, and you can really kind of build momentum. That springboards you into where? February, all-star season, that late second push. So before you know it, man, we will be halfway through the season. Like, we're very close to being halfway through the season here. And before you know it, we'll be making that final push. And so that's why you do want to see Ivy and them come along, because it's like we are, kind of getting to that point where it's like it's time to see this thing. It's time to see this thing and assess this thing and figure out what moves you want to make from there.
If my math is correct, I believe they are 13 games from the halfway mark in terms of 42 for the 41 game mark. They might be 12 or 13 games away from the 41 game mark. Right? Just to put this thing in perspective, your Detroit Pistons are still number 1 in the East. They're still responding. They are beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. Save there's a couple losses here and there, but we get it. Teams are going to have some losses. They're going to have some off nights. But we're definitely going to continue to track the trends that we believe they need to clean up to be able to ensure they have a great playoff run. I think this team is one. If we learn anything from our Lions in particular, I'm going to leave the Tigers out of it, because the Tigers, they didn't do the things that I thought they could to be World Series contenders. You see what I'm saying? Like, they haven't even won the division yet. I thought that they were good. I thought that they deserved to be in the playoffs. But you saw their second half collapses and things of that nature. I just didn't think that they had the bats. I didn't think they had the star power beyond Scooble, but he's an arm. This Pistons team has a defense. This Pistons team is going to have 2 All-Stars if Jalen Duren keeps this up. This Pistons team is going to have an All-NBA player that's either first or second team. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little bit different. And with the Lions, they had an opportunity to get there, and Dan Campbell said, like, we may never have this opportunity again. And we see now how that stuff can go. So sitting here in this moment, that's why I don't take anything away from you when, even after a win, you're like, I would rather see some of these things cleaned up too. Obviously I'm going to have my own slant on it and probably, my own perspective and opinion on it. But I level with where you're coming from, because this is what we all set out for. when we saw that this team was for real, everything from that standpoint was, okay, what do they need to do to cement this? I don't want to know, okay, cool, we're the new Cleveland Cavaliers. We have cute regular seasons, then get punched in the nuts when the playoffs start. I don't want that. Like, that's not for anybody. And that's the thing. If this squad has the opportunity to definitely be one of those deals, man, I'm hoping they do everything in their power to punch that button. And that starts with cleaning up the little things. You know what I mean? Avoiding the big mistakes. And I'm hoping that Trajan Langdon has his eyes on whatever he thinks can get them to the next. But look at this, man. My man MB Well, he's pissed, bro. He said, oh my gosh, y'all mentioned the Lions. I'm out. Look, I believe that this Detroit Pistons team is uniquely positioned, especially in this Eastern Conference. I don't think it's just wide open. I believe this Pistons team is actually good. Like, I hate when people get the backhanded compliment of the Pistons are only up because the East is down. Look, the Pistons are doing things that good basketball teams do, and that's play defense, that's hustle, that's play good teamwork, and they have depth, and they got a coach who don't give a F. So I'm all for it, bro. But to get back to the box score to finish things out.
Put them in the West. They're the second best team right now, record wise. Like what do you? Oh,
and check out their record against teams with winning records too. They're one of the best teams in the NBA right now against teams over 500. Your Detroit Pistons.
So it's just like, come on, man. What are we doing here?
I got some interesting numbers for you. Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson are the only players on the Detroit Pistons to have played at least 30 minutes or more tonight, or last night. Now, I wonder if those guys see a little bit of reduction of their minutes, tonight. I'm wondering if we do see a little bit more Jaden Ivey, on the second night of a back-to-back. You played late. You're starting another game late. Personally, I'm hoping that we see maybe a little bit of an increase of Dennis Jenkins, maybe a little bit of an increase of Jaden Ivey.
That's what I want to see.
Maybe a little bit of a decrease of some of the vets that are on this squad to give their legs a little bit of a break. Because I believe you want to make sure that you go into that game against the Lakers where all eyes are going to be on you. The Pistons have been this league pass team. You want to make sure that you got your vets ready to go for an environment like that. I believe over these next couple ones, you can afford to let Cade and Duran and allow players like your Ivies, like your Jenkins, who have proven certain things, like Ausar Thompson, who's starting to kind of round into form. Let those guys go. Let those guys kind of lead the charge for you. And the one thing I've noticed, especially with Jaden Ivey, he's out there hustling. He's out there playing defense. So that was just something interesting to me that I saw, like those guys with the 33 and 32 minutes on the night. Tobias Harris with 12 points, 5 of 14 from the field, all 3 from behind the arc, but 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He was very active. Duncan Robinson, our feast or famine guy, 15 points, 4 of 14 from the field, 3 of 11 from three-point range, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. Ausar Thompson, who we need to expand on a little bit more, but we'll get back to him. 18 points, 8 of 16 from the floor, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. He probably would have had more points if he didn't smoke a couple bunnies. Shout out to our good folks at, I don't know, Jars, Loon, Cannabis, Mad Packs, all of that, man.
Gold Crown, all of them.
Gold
all
Crown.
of them. Shout out all our sponsors,
Shout out to all of them. We'll get back to Ausar Thompson. We just want to make sure the good people know what happened in this box score. Paul Reed, 4 minutes, didn't really play. Isaiah Stewart, 21 minutes, 3 points, 4 rebounds. This was an interesting one for him because he looked, and this is weird to say, but he just looked short out there tonight against some of the people he was having to defend and play against. But I thought he still played really physical, really active, was able to get like tipping rebounds out where he wasn't able to necessarily grab the rebound. And I thought that he brought a certain amount of just chaos to the paint that you need if you're talking about being this Detroit Pistons squad that we've seen now become the second best defensive rating team in the league. Javonte Green, 24 minutes, 6 points, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, 2 of 7 field goals, 5 rebounds. He was re-scrapping in there. Karis LeVert. Again, your favorite player. Shout out to our guy, Easy. I see you, Easy, in the chat. Karis LeVert, 18 minutes, 0 points, 0 of 8 from the field, 0 of 3 from three-point land, obviously, and 4 rebounds. He's another one of those feast or famine guys. Absolutely. I did not like the minutes with Cade and Karis LeVert. I'm just going to be fair with you. I just did not like him. It just looked like I don't know. I don't want to see Karis LeVert necessarily dribbling for 13 seconds while Cade is also on the court.
That's it. Thank you. Like I just feel like I just feel like look, and I've been critical on Caris LeVert, and this is where I'm going to kind of give him a compliment here, is that his role that he's established is that he is the bucket getter in the non-Cade minutes. So why is he playing minutes with Cade? I know Easy's in here, shout out to Easy, but Ivy played a lot better with Cade tonight than LeVert did. Like Ivy kind of fits into that secondary supplementary role, whereas Caris LeVert is a guy that's best with the ball in his hands. Now he has had games where he's had some good minutes with Cade, but that's because Cade can, you and I can go out there and Cade can still have good minutes, but that's just the kind of
get him
player
at
he
least an
is.
assist or two on the night.
Yeah,
I can knock down one, bro.
That's it. That's it. Just one from the corner. One from the corner. I can go Sorry. I can go Ron Holland. I can go 1 of 3 from the corner. I'm good with that.
Let's rock.
But
hey, that's still 33%, man.
I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it, and this Pistons team will take it, and they'll still find a way to win. That's just the way this team plays. But no, seriously, all jokes aside, like with Caris LeVert, I'm not gonna dunk on him because he's had a couple good games before this bad game. And it's not fair to me to just dunk on him every time because I don't necessarily like the fit. I just think that tonight was a night where the fit wasn't really used, but I think you saw a lot of interesting rotation stuff with JB Bickerstaff tonight, like seeing B-Ball Paul come in and get minutes. Why? Because this is the first leg of a back-to-back. This Piston team is just very aware of themselves and of their long-term goals. And again, going back to Cade, only 14 points tonight, was clearly in cruise control mode and, outside of that first quarter. And, that's because he understands that, hey, maybe tomorrow night, these guys don't got it, and I got to go out there. Maybe Tobias and Duncan don't got it. Maybe Duncan has one of those famine nights. And so I got to just do more on offense. So let me just, while these guys are hot, while these guys are going, give them a boost. And as much as I'd love to see more Ivy minutes tomorrow, it is a back-to-back. So I'm not expecting to see more Ivy minutes just because it is a back-to-back. But I would like
true.
that, especially with how LeVert played last night.
That's a good observation.
It's just, you're right. Like you want to lean on these other guys in these moments because you have to be fresh for the playoffs. That is just something that we saw this Piston team try to correct in March and April, late as the season went on, and they did to an extent, but you still saw it in that series. Like that Piston team last year was capable of making the conference finals. However, they were not going to make the conference finals, not just because of the experience, but because that team was wearing down, breaking down. And despite their youth, I think everybody just thinks of it in 2K land where it's just like, oh, it's a young team, so their legs are forever. But the amount of miles that these guys put on their bodies during the season with how physical and intense they play, you do need to load man throughout the season. I think this Piston team, you saw that tonight with B-Ball Paul. I think B-Ball Paul will get a lot of minutes. I expect less minutes from Isaiah Stewart and or Jalen Duren tomorrow. I expect less minutes from Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, more minutes from Asar, more minutes from hopefully Ivy. You'd like to see Ivy, but Javonte Green, who got 24 minutes, he got a lot of minutes tonight. Dennis Jenkins, those are the guys you're looking at getting more minutes tomorrow as this Piston team kind of prepares to kind of continue to pick up wins. And then I think you'll see some early. You'll see Cade try to go for the throat early and get some guys going, find out who's going, and it's your night, it's your world, and kind of just get out of there with a dub.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow night is actually I agree with almost everything you say except for Duren. I'm looking at JB Bickerstaff. He found a way to only play Jalen Duren 24 minutes. He still averaged more than a point per minute.
Yeah, no, he's playing. He's
might
playing
get
that. I thought he was at like 30. I thought he was at 30 tonight.
That's everything else you're right with. I can see Jaden Ivey, if he's on minutes restrictions, second night of a back-to-back, he might just get the 14 to 18 again, which if he's going to be that efficient during that time, that's really good off the bench, even though I know people are clamoring. I saw a guy, Easy, says he approves of Jaden Ivey moving up to 20 minutes per game. So we just got to figure out who do we
He
got to
got the
send that off to.
blessing.
Is it JB Bickerstaff? Do we fax it to Kevin Burleson or Luke Walton? I don't know. We'll get it over to somebody easy. I'll
Yeah.
if look, they're coming back home in January. If it's not done by then, I'll go to practice. I'll let them know. Got you, bro.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
No, I do think that is a good point, Coy, that this road trip will kind of be the last step of of holding back a little, and they'll start to really kind of unleash it when they're at home. Like you said, they have their own medical staff and everything that will be constantly around Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
So that was a great point by you. I think that is something to watch for. I think that is something to kind of look out for on this road trip. And then again, you just kind of hope that he gives you the spurt ability that he gave you tonight, because that was a huge point in the
Yeah, it was. It was just reliability. Like I like the fact that they have a bunch of players, like I said, who they can put up that 1 or 2 or 3 3-pointers a night. And generally they need about 3 or 4 guys off the bench every night to hit at least 1 or 2 threes. Mm-hmm. When you have that, then you're talking about crucial shots, clutch shots. You're talking about, being able to stave off runs or being able to, instantly. There was a couple times where Portland made a run, but the Pistons were able to hit a 3. I know Jaden Ivey, I believe he had 7 of his 11 points in that second quarter. And I wish he got more minutes in the second half, but I get it. He was up against it because of the foul trouble in the first half. I wonder if JB Bickerstaff wanted to play him more in that second half. But, shout out to Jaden Ivey for being ready and fighting back from pretty bad injury that took him out for a year. But I'm going to continue to go through this box score here. Jaden Ivey, we already talked about him. Dennis Jenkins as well. I guess that is the box score here, but I want to go back to Ausar Thompson. 28 minutes tonight. Obviously, they had to manage his fouls effectively because he did finish with 5, but he started quickly, bro, with 2 fouls and then got that third foul. I don't know how he managed to go the rest of the quarters with only getting 2 fouls, but he did say he is focusing on a couple of different things, talking to the refs, and trying to play as good a defense as he can without getting the fouls. But I want to ask JB Bickerstaff this too. This team is pressing on defense. They're getting all the way up in the jerseys. They're defending the guys all the way out because generally you'll probably defend a guy maybe 2-3 feet from the 3-point line. You know what I mean? You'll get out there and you'll defend him because that's NBA range. But I'm seeing Ausar Thompson guard players that are sitting like just about a couple steps in front of half court. And I do want to ask JB, is this a part of you guys' game plan, or is this something spearheaded from the players? Is this just them saying, no, man to man, man up, we got our guy, everybody got their responsibility? Because I'm seeing these guys get in the jerseys of everybody, everyone, even Jaden Ivey, even Duncan Robinson might not be doing well at it, but I see him trying. He's just sometimes getting blown by. Yes. But I'm seeing all these guys do this. I want to know, is this something that came from the coach or is this player driven? Because Ausar Thompson, he's something else defensively. I don't know if you saw that stat. I think we shared it in our Woodward basketball group where it's just like, I believe he and Shea that are the only perfect 5-tool defenders like in the NBA.
Insane.
It's insane, bro.
It's insane what Ausar Thompson can do, man.
I'm gonna throw the lob up to you real quick. Like Ausar Thompson with the 12 rebounds and the 3 assists and the 3 steals tonight, doing so much other things than just the scoring, which that's what I think a lot of people focus on. But I'm telling you, I really believe that Ausar Thompson is the Tayshaun Prince of this team. He's going to go out there and give you your defense, and he can just kind of fit in and assimilate into this offense. He's a guy who's going to be rim running, cutting. He can operate in a pick and roll with you. I think he got I forget who threw him the pass, but he ran a pick and roll with somebody. And that's what I believe he got the dunk off of. One of the pick and rolls, and he also got a layup.
I think it was
one, I believe, off of one. But I forget who did it. He ran a pick and roll with somebody. He was the roller.
Yeah.
It was Ausar as the roller. So I forget who did it, chat. If y'all remember, definitely put that in there for me. But I like him also with the ball in his hands. He is proving to just be solid. And I think next year's Ausar Thompson is going to be like lookout NBA. This year's Ausar Thompson, I think this is first full season coming off of like, I actually got to practice. I'm not injured. There's no blood clot. There's not like, we don't suck. We actually have a coach and a coaching staff here that knows what they're doing and can put us in a position. This is the real rookie season for him. You know what I mean? If you think, or last year, what's that last year was the real rookie season, but He couldn't work out all offseason. And he missed the first 25 games of the season with a blood clot, which means he couldn't do anything from a cardio standpoint. They were keeping him very, very limited. We were in practices looking like, yeah, he ain't doing nothing. It was just like lifting up his arm type stuff. And so this is that season where he was able to go and work out. And now all the things that you were working on to improve during the offseason, he's coming into the season, and those things are going to get better as time goes on. And I'm seeing him become more and more consistent of a player, but just outside of the scoring, that's something I see all the time from him, man. And I think that Asar Thompson is going to continue to be that Swiss Army knife or that Tayshaun Prince type of player for us. Defense first, hustle everything, and then add the scoring where you can.
Yeah, I'll say this. He has to be what he was tonight more often for the Pistons to reach their ceiling.
I agree.
I think this Piston team is a lot better, and it doesn't just mean, like you said, the offensive points and finishing. Like, yes, that is great. Like, you have to be able to do something offensively, bring something offensively to his team. But all the other worldly stuff that he normally does, tonight he was even just better at. And tonight, in a night where there isn't a Ron Holland for you to just come up and replace you when you pick up those early fouls, I thought it really highlighted and showed Asar's value and what his importance is to this team. Because, on other nights where there is a Ron Holland to kind of come in and just, hey, be 6 fouls, like, be aggressive. Don't worry about picking up fouls. Just make life hell for these other players. And Asar was doing that without the backup, without the safety net of being able to throw in Ron Holland tonight. But
I was gonna say, yep, no Ron.
Asar's fouls to me were not the biggest like story of fouls. It was, how the hell did Cade get 5 fouls in one quarter and then foul out in the fourth? Like, that was just a very, very that's a sequence where, look, is as good as this team was tonight, and as much as this team did look like the dominant team from start to finish for the most part, Kay Cunningham does have to be better, and he'll be the first to tell you that he will be better off of that, because there was some, like, especially the way he picked up the 5th foul was almost like a hack foul to stop the clock. Like, what are you doing? You just picked up all these fouls. So Cade has to be better in that. I'm not going to get on him too hard, because, look, that's something that Cade hasn't really done. It's not like this is a problem with Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, this one was uncharacteristic, but you're right.
It was uncharacteristic, but just had to throw it out there to be fair, to be in the land of objectivity. But back to Asar, I think Asar was just on full display tonight of the type of guy you need him to be if you want to reach your ceiling. If you want to reach your ceiling, then you have to have Asar be that guy, because otherwise, you are a team that, you can have your ebbs and flows, but Asar just unlocks so much for this team offensively, not just defensively. So I think that Asar tonight was extremely valuable, and you need him and Ivy to take this step if you want this team to reach the heights that we are saying that they can reach, and that they hopefully will reach as the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, definitely. With Asar Thompson, obviously the little things are, those free throws and those smoked bunnies. He has to find a way to make that better.
Just punch it in, dude. I genuinely don't understand, because the worst case scenario, you'll go to the line. Yes, you're not a free throw shooter, but a lot of these layups, you're getting foul calls too. Asar is actually pretty good at drawing fouls,
Yep.
So, like, I just don't get it, man. Just go for the punch every time, man. Like, seriously, I truly don't understand what it is. I think he just needs to grow into it.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree, and that's why I said, like, you look at Duran now. Duran gets it a whole lot more. He started to get it more last year when he stepped to the podium and said, "You know what? I'll be fair with y'all. I was playing on some baby-ish. Like, I was playing soft." So, what? I do expect Asar Thompson, through this year to realize, bro, you are it. There's not too many people who's going to be able to stop you from doing what you want to do on that court,
Yeah.
especially when you jump in the paint. There's not too many people, bro. It says if he's playing on a trampoline and the rest of us are just playing in socks. And it's like when he gets that, when he understands that, I'm telling you, I do believe he's going to go, no pun intended or pun intended, to the next level. I really do. Because you're right. You see it. He's up there. It's like, don't contort. Don't go for the little layup. Don't go for the dunk.
No double clutch. No double clutch.
Bro, you saw the poster he had tonight.
Yeah.
Like, he's dragging bodies, bro. It was just like anybody in front of me is a snowplow, bro. It's getting pushed. Like, and the dude that dunked on, I believe, was taller than him. And so it's like, I need that Asar. And I get it. Sometimes it's different when you see that running lane. But when you look at Amin Thompson, I think he understands this already.
Yes.
He'll go and he will push somebody on a poster nightly. And I believe that Asar gets that, but it's still a little bit different. It's like early on, man. I remember early when I was like, man, my dad he did gymnastics and baseball at Cass Tech. And so he was always trying to teach us baseball and gymnastics. I remember when I finally did a backflip, but bro, you be thinking in your head so much. So I know I can do it, but you think it. Then it came to a time after about a year when I was just like, oh, this is just normal. You don't even think about it. It's like shooting. When you first learning, you're thinking about everything. And then after a few years, it's like, this is just what I do. So I expect Asar Thompson to have this become almost like second nature in the future. But I can understand why right now it might still be something that he just doesn't quite understand. It's like, bro, if you need somebody to set up the Krispy Kreme factory and glaze Asar Thompson, there's not too many people standing in between you and the rim if you want to hammer it. I'm just being for real, bro.
Yeah.
But Cade Cunningham's stats, just so people know those again: 26 minutes, 14 points, 6 of 9 shooting, 1 or 2 from behind the arc, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. And the only thing that I was really, really concerned about, other than like the fouls, were kind of cheapies. They're the ones that we said, Cade, you got to stop doing those because you got to keep yourself in the game. Remember, him and Duran were getting in foul trouble early in the season. That Cade Cunningham kind of showed up again. Yeah. If he didn't have the 5 turnovers, I'd be largely okay. Like, he played 24 minutes. Jalen Duran played 26. He got his points, 14 and 9, almost had a double-double, like whatever. But the 5 turnovers, obviously, you want to see Cade Cunningham continue on the stretch that he was. Like, he's on a good stretch this year in terms of turnovers. And shout out to Kuka Hill, who I know he put out a segment today that kind of highlighted some of those things as well. So, if there's any aspect of criticism, you want to see Cade Cunningham on the floor. With his closing time, you want Cade Cunningham on the floor, and ultimately you want those turnovers to not be a thing this year at all.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to harp on him too much because I do think part of it was just, let me get out of here. Let's get out of here with a win. Let's get out of here with a win. We got a game tomorrow. I might be needed tomorrow because maybe there's a plan to rest Ivy because it's a back-to-back, or to we don't know if Holland's going to be back, or
I expect
rest
him to go off against the Kings, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think that's very, very fair for Cade Cunningham, especially because he knows that Westbrook, look, no matter how old he is a battering ram. He is a battering ram, and he is going to come after Cade Cunningham with full intensity tomorrow. And look, that is going to physically do something for Cade. So I think that tonight was a night where it was an off night. He wasn't maybe as locked in as he needed to be, but I think he was just trying to get through the motions, get the win. And that's what a leader does, man. A leader, he's not trying to go out there and score 40 every night and win his way. He's just trying to win a way. And tonight was a different way than how he's won before. Like, there was the Orlando game early on in the season where he's like, no, I'm winning this my way. Like, this is it. Or the Washington game where he shot all those shots. Like, he's shown that he can win a multitude of ways. And so tonight was just one of those ways where, thankfully you got out with a win. You didn't play your best ball, but it was clear that he was just trying to get in, get out, get this W, move on to the next one tomorrow. So I'm not really a betting man anymore these days, but if I were to do something, it would be to bet on Cade Cunningham to have a good night tomorrow, or at least a strong start to try and put him away early and kind of just get in, get out again. So I think that's just really what he's trying to do here.
Yeah, I expect to see one of those like 6.6 assists first quarters from Cade Cunningham.
Mhm.
One where you see him probing, where you see him making them drop passes to Duran on a fast break, where you see him running a pick and roll, but hitting Asar Thompson down on the baseline. I've absolutely loved these wrinkles to the offense. Like I'm telling y'all, these are things that I've screamed about for a few years now in terms of the actions and the cuts and the dives and how you can utilize that to perfection with a guy like Asar Thompson. Because this team got sneaky cutters on it. Like they got guys that can get into the paint and sneak behind the defense, especially when you draw so much attention in the pick and roll between Cade and Duran or anybody in Duran now. Like I said, Duncan Robinson, it was Cade Cunningham who came down the court, ran a pick to the left side with Duran. So Duran set the pick. He went to the left side, gave the ball up to Duncan Robinson, who came right back to the middle of the court, then ran the pick and roll to the right side with Duran, threw the ball up to Duran, got the alley-oop. What those actions did was pulled clean and the four-man up out of the paint. And Duncan Robinson had the ability when Cade Cunningham threw him the ball to either shoot, pass it back to Cade, or take the lane that was opened up off of the rub action from Jalen Duran. Like these wrinkles that JB Bickerstaff and Co. have brought to the Detroit Pistons this year are ones that I did not see last year. The stuff that they're doing to get Asar Thompson involved more in the offense when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, these are things that I saw flashes of, but I'm seeing a whole lot more consistently this year. And that's why I do believe that this team is going to be one that they're working on things. They're adding things. Second half of the season, I believe they're going to be much more of a well-oiled machine, especially when you talk about that all-star break, man. You know, when they get that opportunity to kind of take their break, you know, let Cade and Duran do their thing. And if they send a rising star or two out there as well, when they get that time off and they come back, I think you're going to see a team that's ready to hit the ground running. And one of the things that I've loved about this squad too, Platty, is that whether it's the beginning of the season, whether it was after NBA Cup, this team has been ready to play ball. A lot of people thought, you got to get some chemistry. Sometimes you have to let things build up. And then people ask, are they going to be able to keep their pace with this breaking action with NBA Cup? Are they for real? They come out here and they've shown, yes, we are for real. And that's why I'm not worried about, any aspect of load management later in the season, tripping up their rhythm. They play so deep in terms of their bench, and the players that they have are legit players. Mm-hmm. And so I believe that this team is set up quite well to be able to do two things. Continue winning the way they are because they put all of the team stats first in terms of hustle, steals, transition, blocks, diving on the floor, trying to get into the paint. They put those things first, but they also have the ability to get better this season than they already are because they're still learning. They're still a young team. Jimmy Bickerstaff is still putting them in the right positions to succeed. They're still trying to see what they actually have out of some of these young guys. They're trying to see what they can get out of a Jaden Ivey. They're trying to see who can Asar Thompson be. Think about this. We already got one leap this year in Jalen Duran. Not many people called his leap before the beginning of the season. Not many people said he's going to be a man. When the news came out, he's looking for 30. People's like, now people are saying, give him 35 now if you can. Give him 30. Give him the money. Like, think about that now. So not many people thought this leap was coming. What if Asar Thompson makes that leap next year? What if Asar Thompson makes that leap in season?
Because that was the one that people picked. That myself included. That was the one that people picked. Absolutely. You hoped it was Ivy, but you weren't sure. You weren't totally knocking him for it because it was coming off of the injury that he came off of and stuff. So it might be hard to make that leap this year. You'd like it to be this year because this is your year to determine what to pay him, but maybe it is a following year, or maybe there isn't that leap. That's to be determined, to be evaluated. But yeah, Asar was the one that we were all looking at is like, yo, if he becomes a Robin to Cade's Batman, like, okay, we're good. We're good. We like what Duran is. We like what Ivy hopefully can be. We like Stu, but no, Duran is clearly the Robin. And it's like, if we got two Robins, hey, let's see where this thing can really go. That's why I said when we talked about the Asar portion of it, man, he is so crucial to unlocking what this team could be. not only in the future, but this season in particular, where the East is so open. Because if he could play his best basketball in April and May, then they have a chance of playing basketball in June.
And the thing is, it's not like we're talking about, veteran or established players like, oh, will Tobias Harris improve? We're talking about the fact that we know that there's more room for Ashar Thompson's potential. Tobias Harris ain't got no more potential. Tobias Harris is Tobias Harris. Jaden Ivey, he has potential. Even Marcus Sasser still has potential. And these guys have all shown at their peaks to be players that they can become very consistent. Like now we see Jalen Duren's peaks are becoming his consistent play. And look what that's done. That's elevated him to all-star level status. There are people now who are saying, yo, this guy actually might make this thing. And that's why I said, like, you know what? Good on JB Bickerstaff for recognizing the growth that this team can still have, but making sure that their foundation is set in things that should never change. No matter how talented you get, no matter how skilled you get, no matter how many wins you have, no matter what the expectations are, the hustle should always be there. The defense should always be there. The teamwork should always be there. The honestly going and hard and fighting for your brother should always be there. Like these are the things that should always be the identity stats of theirs, the pick and roll. They're the best team. The defense, they're the best team in the East, second team in the league. The stocks, touching the paint. These are the things that should never change at all. I didn't even think they had the personnel to go out there and bludgeon their opponents by like 20 points a night in the paint. I had no idea they had that. Do you understand how many games I've covered in person? I'm like, bro, this is another game where y'all went and put up like 30 more points than your opponent in the paint. How are you doing this?
Yeah.
They got like one person over 6'10", bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of crazy when you think about like they got Duren, and then Stu is short, bro. Like he's not 6'11". He just plays a lot bigger than he actually is. So I don't know, man. I like this squad, man. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff. I want to make sure that we shout him out. We don't give him probably enough credit, and I think it's because it's just a given. It's like, that's JB Bickerstaff, But this guy's come here and did more than change the culture. This is a guy who came here. You could tell he appreciates basketball and he appreciates being able to help people learn and get to that next level. And I think that that's what made this the perfect situation. They talked about on the broadcast, shout out to Johnny Kane, about the fact that defense has always been a part of his recipe, and he got that from his father, Bernie Bickoff, who was a coach as well. And so to know that he's here and he's instilling this stuff and it's resonating with these players, and then he gets this great honor as well to be voted in as the head of the NBA Coaches Association. I just wanted to say shout out to JB Bickerstaff, man, changing a lot of fortunes here for these young players, not just us fans. I know us fans, us in media, us people who've covered this thing, man. I went to a lot of games. It's cold right now. Do you understand how many winter games I went to when it was winning 17 and 14 games? And it's like, you know what? You're in the trenches because you understand the trajectory of what the leader was going to be. As long as Cade was here, I knew this team is going to hit pay dirt. And so when they got JB Bickerstaff here, he came in and you could just see the smirk on his face as we asked him questions like, bro, do you got a plan for this and that? It was like stuff like that. It was like, who are you? Didn't you just get broomed out of Cleveland? Didn't they say you were the problem? Didn't they say that you were too tough on your players? And he came here and realized, look, he probably was too tough on Cleveland because their players ain't cut out for it. These guys, though, especially after going through the furnace of 17 and 14, K looking like somebody unplugged his controller. He was on the bench looking shook, bro. And I remember when he stepped to the press conference, it was like, we are not good. That hurt my soul. Like for generational Piston fans, that hurt my soul. I was just like, whoa, this is K. This is the star. This is the guy. To see where they are right now, man, it's just like JB Bickerstaff came here and changed what these guys thought they could be, what they believed in. A lot of them thought that they had to take incremental steps. JB brought in the vets who said, bro, and Trajan, who said, what? No, Tobias and Tim and them, they said they came into about, we're not coming here if it's for the play-in. Not at all. We're making the playoffs. And they coached to that, and JB had those young guys thinking that and believing that. Do you know how difficult that is to get that buy-in and then to also have your guys in the right position? When JB Bickerstaff first got hired here, and I got to ask JD, let me just call him Jalen Duren, effectively, about him. He was like, dog, like, he was like, it feels like for the first time in my NBA career, I finally know like where to be. Like we understand things in the NBA now. And it was just like, what? This was during training camp. It's like, what? We were like, well, what's your first impressions of it? This your first impressions of your like third coach in the NBA is that now you know where to be, what to do, how to do it. It's just like, dog. So shout out to JB Bickerstaff, man, before we wrap this thing up. Anything from you, Plotty?
No, man. I think it was all well said. We'll be back here tomorrow night, locked in, giving you more Pistons coverage, breaking down that game as well. But yeah, it's a great story. It's a great season. I'm glad that we continue to get to tell this story. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm expecting a big night from Kate Cunningham tomorrow, and I think that the Pistons are in position to really kind of once they kind of trudge through this road trip, really hit the ground running in the new year. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. The holidays are around the corner, and the Pistons just keep
Hey,
giving
happy
us
holidays,
gifts.
everybody.
Yeah, happy holidays to you and yours as well.
Dope, man. Hey, well, you know what? We will be back, hopefully, on Fumes. It's crazy that they're playing a game today, and the game just ended today. So
Yeah,
shout out to the Pistons, man. Shout out to everybody who's staying up, who's following them, man. Like, this is awesome to see this many people here. If you didn't get the
absolutely.
opportunity to, go ahead and smash that like button to
Yes.
support the crew.
Most important thing you could do: smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already.
Hey, look, man, we're trying to set up watch parties from the arena, not just the post games, like watch parties. Like, so you'll get Platty and I, and hopefully some more of our team in the arena during the games, going crazy, interacting with fans as well, pulling them into our suites and all that type of stuff. So I am hoping that we get this thing going. And they say, when are they playing next? They play tomorrow against the Sacramento. Oh, I'm sorry, tonight against the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
It's already 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. They play tonight. 5 games in total on this West Coast road trip. They started off the first one with a win against the Trailblazers, and they wrap up with the Lakers before they come home on January 1st to play the Miami Heat. The importance of this one, man, you get through this stretch of games, you prove that you are one of those squads, because they always say that the East teams don't stack up with the West. You prove a lot to yourself. Your record at that point in time, you'll be pushing up on 30 wins, dog. You'll be pushing close to 30 wins. You come through this thing with no losses, you will be at over 30 wins. So
Wow.
you're talking about this Pistons team coming home in the new year with kind of a clear road ahead of them. And all they have to do is keep the pedal to the metal, which is something I think JB Bickerstaff is the perfect coach for. Something tells me he is not letting those guys rest or fall off.
Yeah, I could. We have a ton of games to cover. I would be stunned if I'm sitting here post game and be like, yeah, this team just lost it. They just lost their foot off the gas. Like,
I'd be shocked.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Not happening.
It's not happening.
Well,
not only the coach, but the players.
Yeah. Anything else for the people?
No, man. No, just like, comment, share, subscribe, do everything you can to help the Woodward Sports Network grow. That is what really helps us, do the things that we want to do, which is continue to provide the best Pistons coverage. There's a lot of great Pistons coverage out there, but Woodward Sports is giving you the best post-game reactions and watch parties. And shout out to Kool-Aid, for being the ears and eyes on the streets every time, tapped in with this team. To have that insight and that knowledge at your disposal here at Woodward Sports is incredible, and it's something that myself and the fans should be grateful to have, because look, that's what makes this platform special, and we want to give you that direct access. We want to give you, Detroit Pistons fans, that direct access to this team, to this what is the most memorable season already in my Pistons lifetime so far, since I become a fan. I jumped on the bandwagon in the 04 playoffs, so I can't count that season as my season. But everyone since then, man, I've been absolutely locked in through the ups and downs, and here we are. So let's continue to ride this ride. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Yep, definitely. And just for the people, because they're asking about that schedule one more time, they won the first game of the road trip against the Blazers, 110-102. They got the Kings tonight at 10 p.m. They got the Jazz on Friday, the day after Christmas, 9:30. And then they have the Clippers on Sunday at 9 p.m. I'll have to see what's what. I don't think the Lions have a night game. I don't think they do. We'll see what's what there. We may get together. We may not. We'll see what's what. But Pistons Lakers close out the new year, or close out this year, and before they start the new year with the Heat, they close out the new year this year on the 30th, Tuesday, against the Lakers. So hopefully the Pistons handle business. They do sit at 23-6. So I do apologize for the record mix up. Yeah, if they win the rest of these games, they'll be edging themselves closer and closer to 30 with a good opportunity within these first several home games to put themselves up there. You know, they were one of the first teams to 20, and for a while it was just them and the Thunder. And I do believe the Detroit Pistons will be, again, leading the charge here to be the first team to 30 wins. So shout out to you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the support. It was dope to see a lot of the regulars in here. And we're going to set up more of these things, and hopefully we can get some stuff done down at the arena. We want to see you guys there, all right? We'll let y'all know next time. Platty and I will both be in the arena too. Mind you, Portal 5, that's where we go. So next time we there, we're going to let y'all know, man. So shout out to you guys. Blessings. Pistons won again, 110-102. For Platty, for Kool-Aid, for Woodward Sports, man. Hey, go Pistons. That's right.
Go Pistons.
Go